all you fans of these fancy face toasters, I'm here to show you some more free games that you can download right now on the Meta Quest 3, the Quest 3S, and the Quest 2. I tend to focus these showcases on games that you hopefully haven't heard of yet, and give you new experiences, but there may be some in here that you might find familiar. And make sure that if you're going to download any of these games, do one thing. Leave a review for these developers with your honest feedback so they can know what they did good and what they can improve on to make their game better. Because we're all out here enjoying their labor for free, so the least we can do is give them a review to help them out. Now, without any further ado, let's start this showcase with one of the most chaotic games I have ever played. The developers could rename this to just Chaos tomorrow, and I wouldn't even bat an eye. Not that you can see my eye. Initially booting up into this game, you are immediately thrust into a public lobby server, and your only goal is to do whatever you want. Run around the map, collect weapons, equipment, and throwables, as well as take down anybody who dares to insult you. Because as I said before, this game is just chaos. You can run through the open lobby, make alliances, slay your foes, and mess around with some of the fun things like spawn in flamethrowers, swords, grenades, and more. It's labeled as a medieval sandbox, but they also just added in a pirate update for things like pirate swords and flintlock pistols, and I imagine they're going to have even more updates soon because this game is getting pretty popular. There are also random events that will occur, like ones where you have to hold the staff until the timer runs out to be declared the wizard, which allows you to hold onto the staff, an OP weapon inside the game. I will also point out that there are no real consequences to dying. You have your cosmetic and your sword that you spawn in with, but other than that, you can just lose whatever you had on you when you die and then run back in to do it again. So basically, you do something silly, make friends, laugh about dying, and it repeats. I was honestly just able to turn off my brain and chat with people about the silliness of the game, and it was surprisingly refreshing. However, if you'd like to ruin your friendship with some of your current friends rather than make new ones, then maybe you'd like trying out this next free VR game. Inspired by the popular game Chained Together, this has the same principle of the game, but you use hand-based locomotion in VR. Now, anybody can press buttons on a controller or a keyboard, but in this game you have to choose your friends very carefully, because you're going to have to rely on their full body reaction speed to do things like move their arms in real time or even physically move in their play space to get past these areas. This game has been pretty popular lately, amassing over 16,000 reviews since its launch on April 10th. So even from a store page perspective, it's worth trying out, to be honest. At its core though, it is a simple game of conquering different obstacles with your friends to hopefully reach the end while you're all chained together. But hopefully if you want a VR game that can be equally as lethal without the chains, then maybe you'd like to try this next free VR game. Hazard Us is a multiplayer, physics-based escape room / assault course. You and up to 3 of your friends go on an adventure to escape different areas, but you will die. A lot. Overall, it's a game of notes and discovery. You all go in there, one friend may die to a spike pit, the other one has a wall fall on them, etc. You have to go through the different areas, make notes, and try again, because each time that you all die, the entire area gets reset and you have to do it again. Of course, with an added benefit of their ghost feature inside the game, that after your friends die, you can still berate them and call them stupid for being dumb enough to get hit by that trap right before you get hit next. You can all laugh about the silliness of the game together, kind of like how you did with Battlegrounds, but you have all the traps and co-opness that you have from the last game. From an attitude perspective, it's almost a combination of Battlegrounds and Chained Escape. It has the co-op of Chained Escape with the comedicness and dying a lot of Battlegrounds. Now on to the next VR title with more multiplayer, but a bit more freedom of movement. Untangled is a Spider-Man VR fan-made game with cosmetics and open lobbies to make new friends in. It is a very simple game of being able to shoot webs and swing around a low-poly map, but it does have secrets to discover, additional cosmetics, and if you've never tried a Spider-Man-based locomotion game in VR, I would definitely give this one a try. But if that's too much movement for you and you and your friends would like to slow it down, then maybe you'd like to try this next VR game. This is a free mini golf game for your Quest headsets. The initial game and the first course are free, and there are additional in-game purchases for more courses. Truthfully though, I would not pay for the additional courses. The physics, look, and feel of Walkabout Mini Golf are much better in my opinion. But if you want something that is more simple and free, then you can make this a fun download for your first time trying out VR Mini Golf. However, if you want something that's even scarier than microtransactions, then maybe you'd like to get lost in a forest of monsters. Also, before we go any further, I did just want to say thank you all so much for the support on this new channel. It is insane that I managed to get 1,500 people to subscribe to me within my first month here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all of you. I hope you'll check out the other videos if you haven't seen them yet, and I hope I've earned your subscription today. The Haze is an early access extraction shooter game inspired by DayZ. It has a looting system, guns, hostile NPCs, monsters, and a decently sized map. I will also be the first to admit the game doesn't visually look the best, but everything in there is physics-based, and it is a free game to try. For the most part, it's been swept under the rug. I haven't really seen a lot from the developers over the course of the past few years, so I don't really expect to see any updates on this game. But if you're short on cash and want to fight an island full of monsters and other players for digital loot, then be my guest and give it a go. However, if you lose all your gear and you need to take out some aggression, this next free VR game is perfect for just that. However, I do want to warn all of you to type in Rage Room VR exactly how you find it inside the game. Because there is a game called Rage Room, which is a paid game. Rage Room VR is exactly what it says it is, a game where you take out your anger by destroying virtual items. This game would never work on flat screen in the same kind of satisfaction that it would in VR. And I gotta say, it's a pretty neat concept and pretty fun to destroy virtual items. Overall, there's nothing more to it than that. Just a way to take out your aggression on low-poly physics-based area that doesn't cost you a dime. Do people even still use dimes anymore? The creators behind the Cactus Cowboy series is not above making fun VR games that bring us a good laugh, and hopefully you'll get another good laugh in one of their other titles. In part one of the free VR game showcases that I made, I showed off one of their other titles, Cactus Cowboys Plants at War, a funny take on cacti fighting a World War II themed battle. However, in this game, if you can guess based off the title, it is a parody based off the popular Portal series. You need to go through different areas and solve puzzles using portals. Even in their trailer, they have their own GLaDOS AI voice that talks about how hard it will be for people with motion sickness, and there's no mercy for the flat screeners, which I found hilarious.
There will be no comfort options for pancakers.
But overall, the simplicity of it is that you clear rooms of puzzles with portals in VR. However, if you want to bring the experience into your own room, then maybe you'd like trying out this next free VR game. This is a mixed reality game for your fancy face toasters, where you need to defend your room from an onslaught of robots coming through. Essentially, at its core, it is a wave shooter, but the aesthetic of being able to be in the game as well as in your room at the same time is a nice change of pace. Don't expect to get a lot of depth from this title, but if you want to experience a free mixed reality game where you get to shoot things, then look no further. But let's take a step to the side, then the other side, to get ready to feel the rhythm in this next VR title. Unlike other free games on this list that are straightforward with one mode, this game actually has multiple features and ways to play. One of the modes in there allows you to sing via your Quest microphone, and it will register your speech and pitches for singing, similar to the Guitar Hero method with the microphone. There's also a mode that's basically exactly like Pistol Whip, so if you ever wanted a free version of Pistol Whip that you can try out, give this game a go. There is also another mode where you have a drum in front of you, and you need to hit the drum with the appropriate stick as it comes into the circle. Basically like Beat Saber, but with a drum. And there's even a multiplayer where you and your friends can all take different instruments and all have a jamming session together. I just hope that if you do, you don't get booed off stage like me, because I had to be told, hey, you have a good content voice, not a singing voice. However, if you prefer to make other people's lives miserable without making their ears bleed, then maybe you'd enjoy checking out this next title. This is basically a TSA Simulator version of Job Simulator. People will come through and you have to determine if they're safe enough to be able to make it to their flights on time. I also do want to clarify, although this says demo, I have yet to find an actual full version of this game, so this is all you're going to get. This game is similar to I Am Security, if you've seen me play that on my main channel, VR Central, before, and it's like that, but minus the violence of slapping people around and shooting them into the Shadow Realm. There are set rules, and you need to determine if they meet the criteria to get inside the airport. Check their bags with the X-ray machine, inspect their belongings, and maintain a perfect 100% security rating. Well, I think that's all she wrote for me. There's 10 more free VR games that you can download right now. Hope that all of you are having a fantastic day already. I hope that I was able to make it just a little bit better, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace out.